Picture this. Someone hurls an insult at you on the street. Your boss criticizes your work in front of colleagues, or the news floods your mind with chaos and uncertainty. In that moment, do you feel a sharp sting in your chest, a surge of anger, a collapse of confidence? Here's what might surprise you. That reaction isn't really about them at all. It's about the invisible hooks you've installed within yourself, waiting for the world to catch them. Today, we're going to explore something that could fundamentally change how you move through life, the art of becoming truly unshakable. Not through building thicker walls, but by discovering there was never anything to protect in the first place. What if I told you that every external circumstance that disturbs your peace is actually showing you something profound about your inner landscape? What if chaos, criticism, and uncertainty aren't enemies to defeat, but teachers pointing toward your deepest freedom? Let's begin with what Alan Watts called the principle of the mirror. Look around you right now. The room you're in, the sounds you hear, even the thoughts arising in your mind as you listen to these words. Here's the radical truth. None of this is actually happening to you. It's all happening through you. The world you perceive is not some objective reality pressing against you from the outside. It's the universe experiencing itself through the unique lens of your consciousness. Think of it this way. When you look into a mirror, the reflection doesn't create the mirror, and the mirror doesn't create the reflection. They arise together, interdependently. Your inner state and your outer experience are like this, not separate forces in conflict, but one seamless movement of being. When someone speaks harshly to you, the pain you feel isn't really caused by their words. Their words are just vibrations in the air. The pain comes from the collision between those vibrations and something you're holding onto inside. Perhaps a belief that you should be respected, or a story about how people ought to treat you. Picture an ocean. On the surface, you see waves, some gentle, some turbulent, some crashing violently against the shore. But watch carefully. No matter how chaotic the waves become, they never disturb the ocean's depths. The depths remain perfectly still, perfectly clear. Now, which are you, the waves or the ocean? Most of us spend our entire lives identifying with the waves, getting tossed around by every storm, forgetting that we are the vast, unmoving depths that remain untouched by surface turbulence. But here's where it gets interesting. The moment you truly understand this principle, you realize that nothing, absolutely nothing, can touch you without finding a corresponding hook inside you to catch onto. When someone criticizes you and you feel wounded, they haven't wounded you. They've revealed a place where you were already attached to being seen as competent or likable. When unexpected change rocks your world and you feel afraid, the change hasn't created the fear. It's illuminated your attachment to things staying the same. This brings us to perhaps the most liberating paradox of human existence, the illusion of control and the freedom found in letting go. How much energy do you spend each day trying to manage, manipulate, and control your external circumstances? How often do you check your phone, hoping for the right message? How many conversations do you rehearse in your mind, trying to ensure they go according to your plan? How much mental effort goes into worrying about outcomes that haven't happened yet? Here's what's fascinating. The more desperately we try to control the external world, the more it ends up controlling us. It's like trying to hold water in your hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it slips away. Close your fist around water and you have nothing. Cup your hands gently and you can carry it wherever you need to go. The secret isn't in the gripping, it's in the gentle receiving. Alan Watts used to say that security is not about making your future predictable, but about developing your ability to respond creatively to whatever arises. Think about this for a moment. Which feels more secure to you, having a detailed plan for how every aspect of your life should unfold, or knowing with absolute certainty that you can handle whatever life brings you? The first is an illusion that makes you brittle. The second is a flexibility that makes you truly resilient. When you stop trying to control outcomes and start developing your capacity to respond, something beautiful happens. You begin to move through life like a skilled dancer, not forcing your partner to follow predetermined steps, but responding gracefully to each movement as it arises. This is where true security lives, not in the predictability of circumstances, but in the reliability of your own presence. Now let's explore what might be the most practical wisdom you'll encounter today, the sacred space between stimulus and response. Viktor Frankl wrote that between stimulus and response there is a space, and in that space is our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. But what does this actually look like in the middle of your Tuesday afternoon when someone cuts you off in traffic? Most of us live in a world of automatic reactions. Something happens, and immediately we respond with the same patterns we've been rehearsing for years. Someone raises their voice, and we raise ours back. Someone criticizes us, and we either crumble or attack. Someone doesn't text us back quickly enough, and we spiral into stories about what it means. But what if you could find that space Frankl was talking about? What if you could pause in that moment of activation and ask yourself, what's really happening here? Here's a micro practice that can transform your entire relationship with reactivity. The next time you feel triggered by something, and I promise you'll get a chance to practice this today, try this simple 3-step process. First, pause. Just stop for literally 2 seconds. Don't do anything. Don't say anything. Just pause. Second, name what you're feeling, not the story about why you're feeling it. Just the raw sensation. Anger, fear, disappointment. Thirdly, ask yourself, what is this feeling trying to protect? What attachment is being threatened here? When you do this, something miraculous happens. You step out of the automatic reaction loop and into conscious response. You're no longer a pinball being bounced around by external circumstances. You're a conscious being choosing how to engage with whatever arises. This is the difference between being controlled by your emotions and having emotions that inform your choices. But let's be clear about something crucial here. When I talk about becoming unshakable, I'm not suggesting you become cold, distant, or emotionally numb. There's a profound difference between detachment and disconnection. Detachment is clarity. Disconnection is avoidance. A truly detached person feels everything deeply, but isn't controlled by what they feel. They're like the sky, vast enough to hold every weather pattern without being disturbed by any of them. Picture this scenario. You're walking down the street, and someone you don't know shouts an insult at you. What happens next depends entirely on the meaning you assign to their words. If you believe their opinion defines your worth, you'll feel wounded. If you believe you need to defend your reputation, you'll feel angry. If you believe people should always be polite, you'll feel offended. But what if you saw their words as simply sounds in the air, arising from their own inner weather, having nothing to do with who you actually are? This isn't about becoming indifferent or uncaring. It's about developing what we might call emotional intelligence, the ability to respond to situations based on their actual significance rather than the stories we tell ourselves about them. When someone insults you, are you responding to their words or to your own beliefs about what those words mean about you? The sky doesn't fight the storm. It doesn't try to push the clouds away or argue with the thunder. It simply provides the space for all weather to arise and pass. When you develop this sky-like awareness, you can hold space for whatever arises in your experience without being overwhelmed by it. Someone's anger can move through you without making you angry. Someone's fear can be present without making you afraid. Someone's judgment can exist without defining you. So how do we actually train this unshakable mind? How do we move from knowing this intellectually to living it viscerally? The answer lies in transforming every ordinary moment into a practice ground. Your daily life is already providing you with countless opportunities to develop this skill. You just need to start recognizing them as training rather than problems. Try this. Set a timer for 60 seconds, 5 times throughout your day. When it goes off, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, just stop and become fully present. Notice your breath. Notice your body. Notice what's happening around you without judging it as good or bad. Just notice. This simple practice begins to develop what we might call the muscle of presence, your ability to remain centered regardless of what's swirling around you. But here's where it gets really practical. Start using uncomfortable situations as your dojo. Stuck in traffic. Instead of automatically feeling frustrated, ask yourself, what am I attached to here that's creating this frustration? Is it the belief that things should move according to my timeline? Standing in a long line at the store, what story am I telling myself about how my time should be spent? Receiving criticism at work, what part of my identity feels threatened, and what would it look like to receive this feedback without defending anything? Every moment of discomfort is showing you exactly where your freedom is being compromised by some form of attachment. The traffic isn't making you frustrated. Your attachment to things going according to your schedule is creating the frustration. The line isn't wasting your time. Your belief that your time belongs to you is creating the impatience. The criticism isn't attacking you. Your identification with being good at your job is creating the defensiveness. This brings us to one of the deepest sources of our internal hooks, our need for approval and our attachment to outcomes. As long as you need other people to validate your worth, you've handed them the remote control to your inner peace. As long as you need circumstances to unfold according to your preferences, you've made your happiness dependent on forces beyond your control. But what if approval and favorable outcomes were just bonuses rather than necessities? What if you could act authentically, speak truthfully, and live fully without needing any particular response from the world? This doesn't mean you stop caring about results or relationships. It means you engage wholeheartedly while holding the outcomes lightly. Here's a powerful exercise. For one day, try acting from your authentic truth without seeking any particular response from others. Share your real thoughts without needing agreement. Offer help without needing gratitude. Express affection without needing it returned. Speak your boundaries without needing understanding. Notice what happens in your body when you interact without agenda. Feel the freedom that comes from giving without keeping score. When you stop needing validation, something beautiful happens. You become free to actually connect with people instead of just trying to manage their opinions of you. When you stop needing specific outcomes, you become free to engage wholeheartedly with whatever is actually happening instead of fighting with reality about how it should be different. This is what the truly unshakable state feels like. Not the absence of challenges, but the absence of internal resistance to what arises. You don't control the waves, but you discover you were never separate from the ocean. You don't eliminate problems from your life, but you stop being controlled by the problems that appear. Think about water for a moment. When water encounters a rock, it doesn't fight the rock or complain about the rock or try to convince the rock to move. It simply finds its way around, maintaining its essential nature while adapting its form to whatever it meets. This is the art of living unshakably, maintaining your essential nature while flowing responsively with whatever life presents. The ultimate paradox that Alan Watts loved to explore is this: life is not a problem to be solved, but a dance to be lived. When you stop trying to solve the problem of existence and start dancing with whatever arises, you discover something extraordinary. You were never actually separate from the life that seemed to be happening to you. You are the life that is happening. Every challenge that arrives is not an interruption of your peace. It's an invitation to discover how deep that peace actually goes. Every person who triggers you is not your enemy. They're your teacher, showing you exactly where you're still trapped by some form of attachment. Every unexpected change is not a threat to your security. It's an opportunity to discover the unshakable awareness that has been here all along. So here's my invitation to you. Start today. Not tomorrow when conditions are better, not next week when you have more time, not next year when life settles down. Today, right now. In whatever circumstances you find yourself, begin to notice the difference between what's actually happening and the stories you tell yourself about what's happening. Start to recognize the space between what occurs and how you respond. Begin to discover the vast sky-like awareness that can hold every weather pattern without being disturbed. Remember, becoming unshakable isn't about building walls around your heart or numbing yourself to life's intensity. It's about discovering that what you truly are was never in danger in the first place. The waves can crash as violently as they want. The ocean remains unmoved. If this exploration has sparked something in you, if you feel called to dive deeper into this way of living, I invite you to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell. Every week, we explore these profound questions together. How to live with presence, how to find freedom in the middle of chaos, how to discover the unshakable peace that is your birthright. And if this particular journey resonated with you, show me by hitting that like button. It helps others find their way to these conversations. Until next time, remember, you are not the storm that's passing through. You are the vast sky that remains clear and open no matter what weather arises. Dance with what comes, but never forget who's doing the dancing.